Welcome to Mindfulness Manufacturing. My name is Trevor Blondeel. Spending 25 years in manufacturing, I discovered the real impact we have on turnover, communication, and the ability to manage change is how we show up. That's the essence of emotional intelligence. In each episode, we bring a guest or message to expand your skills, engage your people, and grow your organization. So let's jump in. In manufacturing, we are mindful of connection because when we are connected, we get results, better safety, quality, and productivity. When we're disconnected and separated into silos or working on our own, we struggle as plants. After reading The One Truth by Jon Gordon, who I already followed after sharing so many of the 3 million copies of his book, The Energy Bus, it just becomes more clear that connection is the answer to so many challenges. Welcome to the show, Jon.
Trevor, thanks for having me and thanks for sharing the Energy Bus. I appreciate you being responsible for at least, maybe 100 or 200 books. So thank you for that.
I was just talking to my son this morning, who you and I talked about when we met at Influence, when you came and spoke. And he told me this morning, he says, Dad, I think that's probably one of the best books I've ever read.
Oh, man, that means a lot. Thank you for that.
He said, thanks. Make sure you tell Jon that.
Tell him that means the world to me.
Yeah, we talk about manufacturing, but when you and I talked a little bit, I took your fuel sheet and I sent that to him. And that just created some great conversations between him and I around that energy. And as you created so many years ago, the energy vampire, right? And how that kind of comes to us. I thought it was amazing that it's a big part of your Energy Bus book, but that came to you in the very beginning.
It did. In the beginning of my writing and my speaking. And the whole idea with this fuel, by the way, that you gave your son, it's an acronym for feed the positive, uplift your mind and your soul, encourage others and love it. And it's a great way to really have a more positive mindset, a more resilient mindset, a mindset of grit and overcoming and dealing with negativity that so often will challenge you and affect you if you allow it to. And going back to the energy vampires, in the very beginning, when I first started writing and speaking, it was something that just really spoke to me. I thought I came up with the term, I guess a few years before someone had talked about it as well, but at least I popularized it with the Energy Bus. But the idea of negative people that will suck the life right out of you. These are naysayers. These are people who don't believe in your dreams or your goals. These could be bullies. These could be people that unfortunately don't support you on the way and also want you to fail and try to actually cause you to fail. So on this journey, you're always going to deal with negative people. And it's ultimately how we overcome, how we move past them, how we realize that we are more powerful than them. They seem like they're powerful, but they're not. When you understand your true power, you are more powerful than any circumstance and any negative person.
I'm turning 53 shortly. And I think you're about the same. And it's interesting that it's something that we're always working on, right? Because it's those energy vampires around us. But what I really learned from you, Jon, and thinking about it is that the more that we can kind of like sink into our own heels and just be good with ourselves, those vampires just don't make that much of a difference.
Right. They don't. And it's knowing that we create from the inside out. So the power within you is greater than all the forces that are against you. So over time, when you come across a negative person, or an energy vampire that could drain your energy, it's understanding the truth that you are more powerful than they are negative. If you believe they have power over you, they will. If you understand your true power, they won't. And every negative person is actually a test. They're like a germ. Does that germ affect you? Does that germ make you sick? And if it does, it means you have to develop a stronger immune system. But every negative person builds your immune system. If you never got sick, you wouldn't have a strong immune system. So every time you're dealing with someone who's negative, it does make you stronger. So don't run away from them. Learn how to deal with them and become stronger because of them.
The whole concept of, the Energy Bus was great for me. And then you said, Trevor, you and your son got to read The One Truth. And I think what I really took out of that was just that whole concept of even like the definition of anxiety. Like, say more on that, because that really touched my soul.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful to understand that the root for the Greek word of anxious means to separate and divide. So when you feel anxious, you feel separate and you feel divided. What does fear do? Fear divides. What do negative thoughts do? They separate and divide you. They make you feel weak. They make you feel powerless, anxiety and
Mm.
worry and chronic stress. Think about all of the emotions that we have around negativity and fear and what it does to your soul, what it does to your psyche, what it does to your overall well-being. So understanding that is really important. And knowing that there's a force always trying to divide you, and there's
Mhm.
a power always trying to unite you, and that's love. So love is more powerful than fear, and yet fear
Absolutely.
seems so powerful. But once you understand this, then you realize, oh, wait a second. All mental health disorders report feelings of isolation, disconnection, being alone, and feeling separate. And so when you're dealing with a mental health disorder, you actually retreat from others and you isolate yourself. Think about the pandemic. People
Mhm.
really struggled during the pandemic, and it was because they were so isolated. And that's what happens to us when we're in isolation. We're not meant to be separate. We're meant to be connected. So in separation, that leads to poor health. It leads to poor mental health. It leads to being alone and isolated, and it leads to fear, worry, and anxiety. And yet, if we move towards connection, that leads to wholeness. That leads to power. It leads to peace. It leads to overall well-being. So understanding how it all plays out makes so much sense. And again, going back to the mental health disorders, when you move from oneness to separateness, you move from positive to negative. And that's why the more separate we feel, the more negative we feel. So as we move people towards
Mm.
oneness, we move them towards positivity and wholeness and health and happiness. And so it really makes sense in terms of oneness and separateness.
Yeah, and I like the whole fact is it isn't just about being positive. It is not warm and fuzzy thing. It's an actual that whole oneness and community. And ever since this last year, really thinking about it, I'm excited. Like Dyson's going to be 3 years sober on February 26th, and we talked about some of your concepts and the AA meetings and community. And it's like, yeah, it's whether it's something like what he's going through, or whether it's a manufacturing plant that's struggling and the press shops blaming the assembly and the assembly's blaming materials, and then quality's talking about the vendors. And it's like, hold on, guys. We have one purpose here, and just everybody's got a role.
The more
So
united and connected you are, the more powerful you will be as a team. The more separate and divided you are as a team, the weaker you'll be. So
mm,
talk about manufacturing as a team. You said it in the introduction. You've got to get connected. The more connected, the more committed you'll be. Connection and commitment makes a great team. It all goes down to oneness, oneness of mission, oneness of purpose, oneness of objectives, knowing that we're all part of a whole working together to achieve a common goal, a common mission. And that's how you get great teams to work together. Just like that new movie that's out called The Boys in the Boat. I mean, what a great movie in terms of rowing together and
mm,
moving together, and you have to become one. At the end, the older gentleman in the movie was asked by his grandson, like, did you really have 8 people rowing together in the boat? He said, no, we weren't 8. He said we were one. And I just love
mm,
that ending. Like, we were one. That's where the power comes from, when we are one as a manufacturer, or when you're dealing with a addiction, or you're dealing with
yeah,
mental health issues, and you go into a program. What is one of the keys to success of an AA program or an addiction program? It's community. It's
yes,
connection. You no longer feel alone. You start moving away from self towards others. And relational psychology says we heal in a loving relationship. So as you move towards and with other people, you start to heal in that loving relationship. So community is very healing. It's not the ultimate healing, but it does close the hole in your soul. It doesn't close it completely, but it does make the hole a lot smaller as you begin to heal in relationship to others.
yeah. And you've worked with so many great sports teams as well, and we get focused in a manufacturing team of the result, right? Launching this program or hitting this number for a customer. I know that in my past, I put that end goal in front of connection first. And I've heard you talk about that too, right? And the fact of, you can't be successful as a team to get a result if you're not connected as a team first.
Yeah, we focus on what is urgent instead of what matters. We focus on the fruit instead of the root. We focus on the results instead of the process. But when we work on our process, on our teamwork and our relationships,
Mm.
that's the root. That's what creates great fruit.
Oh, I love that. And so in some of my, I was listening to your Sean McVay and how you guys got connected. I love the fact that he was reading your books and then called you. That's such a testament to your work. And I love the whole concept of the voice that we're telling ourselves. Like, did that come from, is that something you've had for a while? Is that you and Sean? How'd that come up?
Now that came about, years before when I was talking to and learning from Dr. James Gills, and he was the only person on the planet to complete 6 double Ironman triathlons, which means you do an Ironman, a day later you do another one. And the last time he did it, he was 59 years old. So he was asked how he did it. And he said, I've learned to talk to myself instead of listen to myself.
Hmm.
He said, if I listen, I hear all the fear, the negativity, the doubt, all the reasons why I can't finish this race. But if I talk to myself, I can feed myself with the words and the encouragement that I need to keep on moving forward. And so talking to yourself is essential. Instead of listening to all the negative thoughts always coming in, you speak words of life, words of encouragement, words of truth to counter the negative thoughts and the lies, because negative thoughts are lies
Mm-hmm.
that will tell you things about yourself and your future that just aren't true. Those positive thoughts counter those negative thoughts.
And I've said a lot that, hey, I don't believe team members manufacturing wake up wanting to ruin someone's day. And it kind of takes it to an even deeper level when it's like, you ask, where do those negative thoughts come from?
Right. Who would ever choose to have a negative thought? And a lot of times negative thoughts come in, they come from a spiritual place. They come from consciousness. No one has ever found a thought inside of a brain. I've asked neuroscientists. And so the thoughts are always coming in. And what happens so often is we believe the lie. We believe that thought. We reinforce it. We speak it out loud. And that thought causes us to have a bad day. It causes us to have a bad year, a bad life if we listen to the negative thought too often. The
Yeah.
key is don't believe the lies those negative thoughts tell. Speak truth to the lies. Understand where the negative thoughts are coming from. And also so often, like when we have emotional issues, we have wounds. You're either living from your wound or you're healing. And a wound is like what? A separation, like we talked about earlier. It's a separation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a hole in your soul. And so often those thoughts come in and infect the hole in your soul and make it worse. And so you really got to realize, like, so often issues in the workplace and issues on a team are your own personal stuff, your own crap coming to the surface. And it's not a bad thing. It's a bad thing if you don't deal with it, if you don't heal it. But what you have to realize is these are opportunities to heal, to grow, to really close the hole in your soul and become more WHOLE. And as you do, it raises your level of leadership, raises your influence, your impact, and also a team that does this really does unite together. I think work is a great opportunity for healing. Not something you might talk about often in manufacturing plants or something you might talk about in police forces. But I had a dad who was a New York City police officer. My dad was a New York cop. And so he had a lot of wounds from the battles he faced and the drug cartels he was battling and just past issues in his own life that were coming out in his work and his family life. And so you saw the struggles that someone had. So even like Tony Soprano in The Sopranos, the old HBO show, it's like, here's this mafia boss, but he had personal issues. Well, everyone has personal issues. And when you heal them, you grow. When you heal them, you become stronger. When you heal them, you help others heal and you become a better leader.
I love that. And you tell some great stories about your dad and, he gave you different perspectives to grow from. And then, and then I've listened to your daughter, Jade, and, the next generation's taking that to another level, right? Of just, hey, let's just talk about this a little bit more. And if we can be a little more expansive in our mindset and we can do some of this work, like, for me, I like to journal in the morning. I do my exercise in the morning. It sets me off. You do your walks, those 25 books, 15 bestsellers just seem to come through those walks. And it's just that investment of like knowing that, hey, if I feed that mindset, I'll be able to serve others better.
Oh, definitely. And we've got to do the work. just like you develop physical muscle by training, you've got to develop mental muscle. You've got to train your mind as much as you do your body. And it is wild. My daughter's now doing this work. She's doing
Yeah.
workshops. She's speaking. And we worked with New Core Steel. She did a workshop for New Core Steel. We're talking a lot of plant workers and managers and leaders. And it was really cool. We're talking guys in their 50s and 60s. And my daughter was literally leading them through a workshop. And I'm watching, and she was powerful and dynamic and taking
Oh,
command.
that's
And you could
awesome.
tell they were like, wow, like, all right, they're like following her lead. And she was leading them, helping them grow, helping them get better. It was great to watch. And she's now working with Auburn men's golf team. So yeah, she's a powerhouse.
And Nucor Steel is a fantastic company. And
Incredible.
just what I've observed and because I do some work with them as well, is that they're committed to it. So what? Oh, because you have too many great acronyms to go through in the time we have left, but I'm curious, what have the manufacturing plants kind of gravitated to from your work?
I think power of positive leadership and the power of a positive team has been something that they've really resonated with. Because as you said earlier, we do need a team to be successful in manufacturing. It's not about working alone or in isolation. We've got to work together, and together we accomplish amazing things. So you've got to come together as a team and learn how to overcome the negativity, learn how to have a shared vision and mission, learn how to develop relationships and make sure you weed out the negativity and feed the positivity. And when you do, everyone performs at a higher level, and so does the team. So I love the power of a positive team in terms of manufacturing and getting people to work together. But it starts with positive leadership. So if you have a plant leader or a manufacturing leader and they're not a great leader,
Yeah.
you're not going to have a great team. So I like to start with the leadership,
Mm-hmm.
power of positive leadership with the leaders, maybe energy bus first, then power of positive leadership. You do that. And then from there, you then take the power of a positive team to your team, and now you can actually weave these principles together with your team. And you do this, I guarantee, as a leader and as a team, you will start performing at a higher level, because I've seen it over and over again over the last 20 years.
I love it. And whether you take it from sports to manufacturing, and you can go to the one truth, and it's a lot of the same, right? It's are we separated? Are we one? And are we grounded?
Yeah,
So I love that.
do we have one mission, one goal,
Mm,
one focus as a team? Or are we separate, divided? Is each person focusing on me, or are they focusing on we? Right?
yeah.
We is greater than me. And great leaders are all about we, not me. And that's what makes us great. Same thing in sports. You've got to get a team that really is playing together. And you can tell when a team is playing together. You can just see it on the field, and you can tell when they're not. So I love that the same principles in sports also play out in manufacturing and in business, and really in any organization. But with sports, you can see it on the field. You're watching
Mhm.
TV and you can tell, the whole world could tell if this team is united and connected. Now, people might say, well, the Chiefs, Travis Kelce, hit Andy Reid, and he was focusing on me. But if you really look at the dynamic, that may happen. But the fact that he was able and felt comfortable to do it
Yes.
actually might tell you that they have a better relationship than you would think, because he actually did that and was mad at him like you would be mad at a
Yeah.
brother. So it
Yes.
actually shows that they have a deeper relationship. So knowing dynamics, knowing culture,
Yeah.
knowing how teams work, I saw that differently than a lot of people did. I probably should have shared that publicly, which I didn't. I think I might now after talking about this, but I think it shows that for the world to see, you can tell team dynamics, and people may not see that in your company, in your office, in your plant. They may not see it, but those same principles apply, and the world doesn't see it, but you see it inside. And then what will
Mhm.
happen is the world will see your results by your productivity, by your stock price, by your growth, and they'll also see your dysfunction, and a team and company fall apart, which so often happens,
Mhm.
eventually leading to demise. So either way, it's going to show eventually. So you got to do the right things to build that team. So you win in the locker room first. You win in the office first. You win in the
Yes.
plant first. You win with those relationships, and then you win in the marketplace.
And it's just a miss, right? Because just like you can probably watch the sports game, and a lot of us can, I can walk into a manufacturing plant and just walk the floor.
Yeah.
You can feel it, right? You can feel, is this separated or connected? Do people have their heads up? Do they have their heads down? Is there a projection of when we are struggling on a launch? Do we have that relationship where good one with, Travis Kelsey that you said that, there's enough trust there that I can have a little bit of conflict because I know you care about me and the mission more than your own position. And when you do that, you can tap me on the arm and say, "Hey, Jon, this was, this report was supposed to be completed Friday. Like, what's going on, man?"
Yeah, yeah, you can blame each other or you can make each other better.
Yes. And then it's so why do these manufacturing plants, so many of them miss them? We miss this opportunity that I always like to say that we can be accountable to each other and we can be kind. And I had a leader once tell me that I should take a pill to, maybe be not so kind so I can be somebody else to maybe get a result in a different way. And I kind of challenged back to saying that, I think I can have deeper conversations and be kind at the same time and still tell the truth.
It's love and accountability. It's the two together. When we do our positive leadership workshops with companies and organizations and manufacturing plants, we've done many of this for manufacturing plants. We love it. It's really a lot of fun to do it. We do this with organizations, companies, plants. We talk about love and accountability. You got to love your team. You got to support them. You got to encourage them. They got to feel that.
Yes.
But then you earn the right to challenge them. We call it love tough instead of tough love. When they know you love them, you earn the right to challenge them and you can push them. So you hold them accountable to the culture, the values, the standards, and the principles. And they've got to live up to that. And if they're not, then you have those conversations, but you're going to support them along the way. When you have the right combination of love and accountability together, what that means is you care about them because you're not going to let them settle for anything but their best. And you care about your team. You care about everyone else because that person needs to be accountable to the team and can't let the team down. So now I'm practicing love and accountability with everyone, and everyone becomes accountable to each other. And the love and accountability piece causes the team to now perform at a very high level. This is the key. Like if I had to give one key to great leadership, besides optimism and belief, it would be love and accountability, the combination of the two. And to be able to lead with both is how you get results. Too much love, not enough accountability. You have great relationships. Everyone likes you, but you're not making them better because you're not challenging them. And guess what? If you really care about someone, you're not going to let them settle for anything but their best.
Yes.
If you care about them, you're going to push them to be as great as they can be. So accountability has to be a part of it. But too much accountability, not enough love. You're always pushing them. You're always driving them. And eventually they will tune you out and you will burn them out. So you need the right combination of the two.
So I'm going to put a link in the show notes to your podcast episode 5 years ago with Alan Mullally.
Yes.
I love the conversation between you two.
One of my favorite, all-time favorites. And he taught me that. He taught me about, you got to love him up, Jon. And he told me about being someone who holds him accountable, someone who challenges. He defines his leadership style as positive leadership. And it's funny. I just messaged with Alan today. So we were just messaging. I have a new book coming out with Amy Kelly called Difficult Conversations Don't Have to Be Difficult. And it's the concept where every team has to have difficult conversations, bring the issues to the light, deal with the elephants in the room in order to get better. And if you don't, those issues will sabotage the team. So it's all about how to have difficult conversations as a team. And we provide a model for teams to do that.
I heard you talk to someone about an elephant on the table, like literally just to remind them of that.
Yeah, Nick Nurse put an elephant on his desk to remind himself and his team they were going to deal with the elephants in the room.
That's beautiful. I am so grateful that manufacturers are bringing you and your company in because it's needed, because manufacturing can take a whole other level here. And, with Alan being the CEO of Ford and what he did to turn that company around, it's a great example, and it's just not happening fast enough. So we need a lot of us out there following the work that you and I do, Jon. The last one I got to say.
We need more. We need a lot more doing it. We really do, because we have some, but not enough. And I really believe it's because leaders don't realize how much they need it. They don't understand the difference it makes. They think this is like, oh, positivity, woo-woo, hold hands, sing kumbaya. They don't understand that this is really the way to get results, the way to build a stronger team. Once they experience it once, they're like, this is it. They're forever changed and impacted, but they've got to experience it. And the hard part is to get them to realize, hey, just bring this in. Just do this. It will
trust the process.
Because how's it going so far without this? How's your team doing? You got dysfunction. You got a lot of issues. You got morale challenges.
Yes.
You're doing the same thing and it's not working. Do something different. And building a positive team is the key.
I love it. Thanks, Jon, for everything you do, for taking the time here today. And the last line that I'm going to quote you is that you can leave our listeners with, because in manufacturing, we deal with a lot of stress. Like we get inside our four walls and I always said that I feel like I'm saving lives.
Right.
We're not. But you said you can't be stressed and thankful at the same time. Leave us on that.
Yeah, you can't be stressed and thankful at the same time. If you're feeling grateful, the research shows you can't be stressed. So whenever you're feeling stressed, just bring gratitude to the moment. Even when things are driving you crazy, even when you're feeling like you're just going off the wall, just slow down, take a deep breath. And remember, if I focus on gratitude in this moment, I'm alive, I'm healthy. I woke up on the right side of the ground today. I got a family. I got people who love me. Whatever it may be, there's always things to be grateful for. And when you focus on that, the stress will begin to dissipate. And then you'll flood your body and brain with these positive emotions that uplift you, rather than the stress hormones that slowly drain you. And over time will slowly kill you. So this is about your health. This is about your longevity. This is about your well-being. And taking a walk of gratitude every day for the past 20 years has changed my life, changed my health, changed everything. I'm a guy who was very negative, dealing with a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, a lot of fear. And this gratitude walk every day over the past 20 years has literally caused me to now focus more on the positive instead of the negative. It's made me stronger, more mentally tough, grittier, healthier, and just more powerful as a person, as a leader. So I want to encourage people to do that. Again, go to my website, jongordon.com. Got a ton of free resources there. Go to my books, read the books, read The Energy Bus for sure. It will impact you. I guarantee you read The Energy Bus, it will impact you. Read The One Truth as well. Power of Positive Leadership, Power of a Positive Team. Those are great books to start with. Or The Carpenter. We're talking about manufacturing. Carpenter is one of my all-time favorites, and people say it's probably my best work. So I think you'll like that one as well. And then again, go to my different Instagram channel, Twitter, LinkedIn, you name it. I'm always providing value, always sharing a lot of tips and advice on there. Again, start to read it and just start to use it and see how it helps. And then if it helps, then share with your team to help them. And that's how we're going to make a difference. One company, one organization, one person at a time.
Well, I have data to show that it works, Jon, because in my family, in my clients, and in myself, your work has impacted me. So thank you for taking the time today. And I also subscribe to your newsletter, which is great as well. We'll leave a link in the show notes for all that. And appreciate you, Jon Gordon.
Thanks, Trevor. Appreciate you and the great work that you're doing out there. Hey, we're in this together, and our work together is what makes a difference.
Hey folks, appreciate you taking the time to join us today. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone. Haven't subscribed yet? Do it now. Remember, if you want results, the key is increasing your awareness of how you show up.